Samach Aleph. Roisi liyadidi hagoyin hatzadik av bezdin kasho. That's all. Reb Brach. The Hakdama Sifrei Avos Albanim. In the introduction to his Sefer Avos Albanim, Shenidchak Ma'oid Liyashev Divrei HaZoyar HaKadosh. He has a big problem, and he tries very hard to figure out the words of the Zoyar that say, Mashakostiv Shabbat Milchemes Goy Gamagoy, Yiyu Gam Mibnei Yisrael Ben Chayaloistav Shal Goy. That on Goy's side, there will be Jews fighting against Mashiach. So Reb Brach asked, how could there be Jews who fight against Melech HaMashiach? That's his kasha. It's only because the Stamar Rebbe blinds their eyes. It's not going to be unbelievable if there are going to be some Jews who join the Milchemes Goyg, army of Goyg.
Even from Jews.
Yeah. V'chutz mizeh, haloi mevur b'midrashei Chazal u'v'zoyar HaKadosh b'chol makom, that we have midrashim in many places, and now he's going to quote them. V'huva b'yalkut Ruveni parshas Teitzei b'shem haZoyar HaKadosh al pasuk timcha zecher Amalek. So if you don't have a Zohar, you can look it up in Yalkut Ruveni if you have that sefer. And basically what he says is, it says Timcha Zecher Amalek Mitachas Hashemayim Loy Tishkach, right? In Parshas Teitzei. So he says Ilain Erev Rav Me'uravim B'Yisrael. This means the Erev Rav that's mixed in to Klal Yisrael. Olayhu Itmar, because about them it was said Timcha Zecher Amalek. Delo Yishtar Min Hain Sari Depali, that nothing will be left of them. Ayin Sham Sheherich. So you see, in Klal Yisrael there are people from Amalek. V'zeh l'shoin HaZoyar HaKadosh Parshas Breishis. Chamesh minim inun be'erev Rav. There are 5 types in the Erev Rav. V'inun nefilim, giborim, anakim, refaim, amalekim. So these other people sound like giants.
Where's this from? Zoyar HaKadosh.
Zoyar HaKadosh in Breishis. V'alayhu itmar timcha ezecher Amalek. About them it was said to wipe out the remembrance of Amalek. Hashem has a war against Amalek, not Amalek among the non-Jews, but Amalek in the Jewish people. This is a constant war of Hamuchayevis. It's a war that we're obligated to fight until the world comes to time of Mashiach and the world becomes the repaired world. Yeah. V'yamru Razal ein Hashem Shalem v'ein Akisei Shalem. The name of Hashem is not complete, and the Kisei of Hashem is not complete ad she'imach Zera shel Amalek, until the children of Amalek are erased from the world, which means, like the Zohar says, it means these Amalekim that are in the midst of Klal Yisrael. V'hinei zyoynim v'akoifrim shel zmanenu shorsha meho Erev Rav. The Zionists and the heretics of today come from the Erev Rav. V'yadua she'hagoyin hatzadik bal Chafetz Chaim zatzal. It's known that the Chafetz Chaim said she'ikar avoidasei haisa be'inyan shmiras halashon. He says the Chafetz Chaim's main goal in life, one of his main goals, was to promote shmiras halashon, to promote proper speech. He wrote a sefer, Chafetz Chaim, to explain these halachas. So no one should think the Chafetz Chaim just went around throwing around words, right, insulting people when it was not warranted. And still, the Hey Talmidoi Hagoyin Atzadik Reb Chanan Wasserman Zatzal Mishmoi, Reb Chanan says over from the Chafetz Chaim in sefer in Maimer Ikvis in the Mashiach, he says She'omer al zyoynim shehem Amalekim amitim. He says that zyoynim are the real Amalekim today. Reb Chanan explains there that it's not all the Zionists, it's just the leaders of the Zionists, right? The rest of them just follow. So, so today we're suffering from the Galus of the Erev Rav, meaning to be in Galus under the state of Israel is to be in Galus under the Erev Rav. They're the ones who make the decrees against Klal Yisrael. Decrees that never existed from the time of the beginning of the world, from the beginning of Klal Yisrael. V'oid yadam netuya Hashem yishmerenu. Their hand is still outstretched to make zeros against us. Upeferish orachama. Cost of all divrei zoyar kodesh anal parshas Bereishis. On this zoyar that he quoted, that there were 5 types of Erev Rav, right? So on that, the orachama says, De'af be'elu hanoyladim mizera Yisrael. Even people who were born from Jews. In other words, don't think that we're talking about a yichus problem here. And this gets into the question of what does it mean that someone's from Amalek if they're in Klal Yisrael. Don't think that we're talking about like, okay, there's some impure yichus somewhere back in his family and he descends from Amalek somehow, right?
Zera?
Or gerim that weren't real gerim that came in or something, I don't know, intermarriage. Don't think that that's the pshat. He says no. Even people who were born from Jews, it could happen. Their neshama is what comes from Amalek, not their body, not their physical yichus. Kvar hevesi besifri vayom Moshe Maimer Gimel Siman Chav Zayin. I brought down Mashakos of a Rashba Zal B'tshuva Madur Kama Siman Tov Dalid Al Elu Shemoid Sim Divrei HaTorah K'dosh L'Divrei Minus. People who misinterpret the Torah, who actually purposely go into the Torah, not that they think the Torah means what they say, but they go into the Torah with an agenda and they interpret it to mean what they want it to mean. So the Rashba says on these people, Sheheidu al Atzmon She'eno Mizarah Shel Avraham. These people, they're testifying on themselves that they're not from the Zara Shel Avraham. Va'afilu Mizarah Shel Esav Yishmael. They're not even from Avraham's children, Esav and Yishmael. They're completely. And he goes on to say they're not even from humans. He says, Rak me'oisen sheidim v'lilim shel noldu me'adam harishon. They're from the sheidim that were the children of Adam harishon. Because we know the Gemara in Eruvin Daf Yudches says that for 130 years Adam separated from Chava after the Chet until he had Sheis, right? So what was he doing for those 130 years? So it says he was having children with the sheidim and producing all the sheidim that are around today. They're all kids of Adam Rishon. So those sheidim are the ones who are interpreting the Torah wrong. That's what the Rashba says. Al Cohen tekal aleim b'chol lashon v'chol Yisrael nekim. He says we can curse them no matter what we want to say about them. We can say it, and all the Yidden will be nekim. They're not going to be blamed for this aveira of cursing because they're not really Yidden that they're cursing. Ayin sham sheherich. Just looking in Vayom Moshe, just to get the context of why the Rashba was against these people. What did they do wrong? So he says, Ayin shuvas Rashba Madur Kama Tov Yadal Shekosba Misha Amar Divrei Minas for Hoitzias Divrei HaTorah K'doshim Mipashtas Divrei HaKsuvim, that he interprets the Torah as not literal. B'Amru Sha'Avram V'Sara Choymer V'Tzura. They say there never was a person named Avram and a person named Sarah. It was just symbolic of the Choymer and the Tzura.
Is that biblical criticism or something else?
It's biblical allegoricism. So the Rashba is Mikala, this person, Shalom B'Klaus, Nimratzis, V'Neirai, Sim Kol Aminim, Rachmana L'Islan. Because of Sham Be'em Tzadvarav, Mizel Shoynehu. Isha hu heid v'neman alatzma yois rimei edim she'enu mizara shel Avram, utfilastoi lo yishma Hashem. She'enu yafilu mizara shel Esav yishma. Rak mi'oisin sheidim v'lilim she'noilim chava v'adam harishon. They were born from Chava. Interesting, he doesn't say that Adam had the babies with the sheidim. He says, Noldu me'chava v'adam. V'adam harishon. Al kein tekalim b'chol lashon v'chol Yisrael nekim. Uviyarti sham besifri kavanas harashba. He says, I explained the Rashba over there in Vayom Moshe. The af she'anu roim be'elu haminim shenoldu mizera anashim. So here's back to what we said. We said about Amalek that in Klal Yisrael there could be people from Zera Amalek. What does it mean? They're born from Jewish families, right? They have good yichus. Pshat is in the neshama. So here also he says in the Rashba that even though we see these minim who made these pshatim in the Torah come from Jewish families, they could even come from very good families, but they were caught up in minas afterwards. So these people actually their neshama has something wrong with it. They're in the disguise of a human being, of a Jew, coming from a Jewish family, but really not. Ulam hey darash bezal shenishalif nishmasam. He says their soul was exchanged b'sheidim v'ruchim v'lilim. Af shenisharu begufam b'tzalmam udmusam ayin sham. Even though their body remained the same body. So that's how he's explaining this thing about Amalek too, that an Amaleki could be in Klal Yisrael even though they're not actually Zera Amalek.